overturned study as if it were gospel. It said, the TUC states that there is clear academic evidence that high wage disparities within companies harm productivity and company performance, even though this statement was contradicted by the very researchers the TUC quoted in support. Partly due to this claim, the report recommended that every large UK company disclose its pay gap, and this eventually became law. The takeaway I'd like to draw is nothing to do with pay gaps, whether they should be published or whether large gaps are good or bad. Even if bigger differences lead to better performance, we might care more about equality than profits. Instead, it's to stress how careful we need to be with evidence. This episode taught me two lessons. First, you can rustle up a report to support almost any opinion you want, even if it's deeply flawed and has subsequently been debunked. A topical issue attracts dozens of studies, so you can take your pick. Phrases like, research shows that, a study finds that, or there is clear academic evidence that, are commonly bandied around as proof, but they're often meaningless. Second, sources we consider reliable, such as a government report, may still be untrustworthy. Any report, by policymakers, consultancies, and even academics like me, is written by humans, and humans have their biases. The committee may have already felt that pay was too high and needed to be reined in, which is why they launched the inquiry in the first place. This isn't just an isolated case. Newspapers publish articles highlighting the blockbuster findings of a study that doesn't even exist. Companies release research that has no actual data behind it, it just assumes its results. Universities circulate reports declaring game-changing conclusions when their tests in fact found nothing. Yet if readers want these claims to be true, they accept them unquestioningly. The problem extends far beyond business. Misinformation surrounds us and affects our everyday lives, how we vote, learn a skill, or improve our health. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, buses paraded the claim that European Union membership cost the UK £350 million per week. The actual figure was £250 million, or £120 million after deducting the amount the EU gives back to the UK. People believe the 10,000 hours rule that you can master any skill with 10,000 hours of practice. Yet the research it's based on was limited to violinists, didn't measure their skill, and didn't even mention 10,000 hours. In 1988, the journal Nature published a paper touting the effectiveness of homeopathy, a treatment using heavily diluted substances that supposedly transfer their properties to water. But several other studies found no improvements, and scientific consensus is now that homeopathy is ineffective for any disease or condition. These examples show how we're all affected by research, even if we never read a single academic paper. Each time we pick up a self-help book, browse through the latest men's fitness, women's health, or runner's world, or open an article shared on LinkedIn, X, or Facebook, we're reading about research. Whenever we listen to an expert's opinion on whether to invest in crypto, how to teach our kids to read, or why inflation is so high, we're hearing about research. And information is far broader than research. Our news feeds are bombarded not only with new study finds that, but also anecdotes like how daily journaling boosted my mental health, hunches such as 5 tips to ace your job interview, and speculation like why we'll colonize Mars by 2050. Blindly following this advice, you could find yourself sicker, poorer, and unemployed. In some cases, misinformation can be fatal. In March 2020, as the coronavirus pandemic was breaking out, US President Donald Trump tweeted that hydroxychloroquine might be a cure, proclaiming it one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. One woman noticed chloroquine on the label of her fish tank cleaner. As she told NBC News, "I saw it sitting on the back shelf and thought, hey, isn't that the stuff they're talking about on TV?" She and her husband